Everyone says a jigsaw is a beginner-friendly tool, but then your blade starts to wander, your edges are beveled, and your cuts look like you used your teeth. But here's the twist. It's not that the jigsaw actually sucks, because all it really comes down to is knowing a few simple tips and tricks to kind of spice up your cutting techniques just a little bit, and of course, picking the right blade to start with. So stick around and I'll show you how to make your cuts look 10 times better. And I'll even hook you up with a free cheat sheet so you'll never have to guess again. The 4 main issues you're going to face when using a jigsaw are splintering or tear out, wandering or deflecting blades, kickbacks, and blades binding up. Knowing which blade to pick to start with is going to dramatically increase the quality of your cuts. The first blade is the most common one, and that's the upcut blade, which basically cuts on the upward stroke, which means the bottom side of your workpiece is going to have a nice clean finish, and the top side usually has a little bit of splintering or tear out. These blades are great for breaking up things like large sheets or cutting 2x4s, for example. Now, the best part about using this blade is the fact that it actually pulls down the base of the saw onto the material, kind of like sandwiching it, and that gives you better stability and control, which is also great for beginners who want to build a bit more confidence in using a jigsaw. If you are using an upcut blade and you do need the top surface of your project to be clean and have a nice cut, you can flip it around, mark it, and cut it from this side, which will give you a clean cut on the top. Otherwise, there's an old painter's tape trick that you can use. It's not 100% bulletproof, but it does work. Let me show you. So here we've got our piece of off-cut plywood, and what we're going to do, because we're using a down-cut blade, I'm going to stick this on the bottom side, and then we'll give this a quick cut. And then if we flip this upside down, you can see that we've got some splintering happening on this side, right over there, and if we remove the tape, this side is perfectly fine. This method works really well if you're doing straight cuts, but sometimes you do need to mark and cut on the top surface of a board, say like a floorboard, for example, around a pipe or something like that. In this case, a down cut or reverse cut blade is the way to go. Reverse cut blades have the teeth pointing downwards and they cut on the downward stroke, which means the top surface will have a clean cut and the bottom might have some tear out. These blades are ideal for things like laminate flooring boards, where you do want a clean cut on the top surface. One thing to keep in mind though with reverse cut blades is the fact that the teeth are pointing downwards into the workpiece, so that can cause the saw to kick back or bounce back up instead of the other way around where it pulls it down into the material. But we'll get into more of that in just a second. Scroll blades, on the other hand, are very narrow and specifically designed to give you clean cuts around tight curves. Because they are so thin, they have less chance of binding up in tight curves, but you do need to slow down when you're cutting with these because they do tend to bend a little bit easier. All blades come with a TPI or tooth per inch rating, which you typically can find on the packaging or the blade itself. And as a general rule of thumb, a low TPI of 6 to 10 is ideal for softwoods, and it will generally cut fast and give you a rough finish on the waste side. A higher TPI of about 10 to 24 is ideal for hardwoods, metals, and things like acrylics. They will generally cut a lot slower, but also give you a much smoother finish. Speaking of how fast you can cut with one of these, most of these saws come with this little feature on the side. It's a dial that goes all the way from 0 up to 3. Now, what that does is, if you look behind the blade, you'll see this little guide wheel. So, if you look at a blade as it normally travels up and down on the 0 setting, you can change that to 3, which means the blade's now going to go like this. So that will just speed up your cutting time, but I generally find that I get much better quality cuts if it's set to 0. And also, if I just choose the right blade, it does what I want to do anyway. So it's good to know that you've got this feature if you ever need it. Obviously, there are many more different kinds of blades, but generally speaking, these are the 3 that you're going to be using the most for general woodworking. So to make this really easy for you, I've created this quick reference guide, which you can grab down in the description. And it's just going to help you pick the right blade for the right job while you get your head around how all this works. Blade deflection or wandering is where the blade veers off during a cut, causing wavy, crooked, or angled cuts. And it's probably one of the biggest gripes people have with using this tool. Now, to illustrate a point, I'm totally going to over-exaggerate what I'm going to show you next. Say, for example, we've got a piece of timber and we want to cut it lengthwise. Something that can easily happen without you even realizing it is when you're holding your saw, you can easily drift slightly sideways, or you can twist it or pivot it like this. Problem is you can't see it because the blade's all the way down here out of sight. From the front you can see that the blade is only supported at the top and the bottom is still loose. So if I lift this up a little bit just to show you what that'll look like, if we are moving left and right, the blade can bend like this, and pivoting will create a twist like that in the blade. Now, obviously, once it gets started with a cut like that at a slight angle, the blade is very likely to keep going at that angle. And like I said, you can't see that happening from above, so you end up with a crooked cut and you have to start all over again. So how do we avoid this? Well, one of the main reasons why deflection happens is because we are pushing the saw through the cut instead of letting the blade do the work. Remember, we just talked about teeth per inch on these blades. Well, that has to do with how fast the blade can actually remove material as it's cutting. So, if you are forcing the blade through the cut, you are trying to make it do more work than what it's actually capable of. And that in itself can cause a blade to deflect or twist. Also, try not to stop or pause during longer cuts, but try and keep the momentum going, because that can cause beveled cuts and jagged edges when you resume the cut. For shorter straight cuts, you can use something like a speed square as a guide to give you a nice straight cut. In general, jigsaws aren't that good for making straight long cuts, but if you've got something with a nice straight edge, you can make it work. Let's say, for example, we've got a board and we want to cut a strip off on this side, on this mark, all along this edge of the board. So what we're going to do is take our saw and then we're going to line up the blade with this mark on the side that we want to cut. So that'll look something like this. Now we're going to take our pen or pencil and just make a little mark on the side like that. Then we're going to measure that, which in this case is 65 millimeters, and we're going to transfer it onto the other side. Then we're going to take our straight edge and just line it up with those two marks that we just made, clamp it down, and then we're going to start making our cut from this side. And as you cut through, make sure to push slightly inwards towards this edge, so that'll guide the saw all the way through, leaving you with a perfectly straight edge. Easy. Kickbacks usually happen when you are using a downcut or reverse cut blade, because the teeth are pointing downwards towards the material you are cutting. So that basically grabs onto the fibers of the wood and it pushes the base of the saw back up towards you. It can also happen if your blades are bent or dull, or if you are cutting material that's too thick for the length of blade that you are using. So always make sure that the blade sticks out at least about maybe an inch or so underneath the material you are cutting. A very common mistake is pulling the saw out of the cut while it's still moving. This not only causes kickback, but it can also damage the blade and the workpiece itself. When starting a new cut, especially with a reverse cut blade, try and get the blade up to speed before entering the cut, because this can also help prevent kickbacks. Where possible, try and avoid using downcut blades if you can. Rather go with the upcut blades, because those are the ones that pull the base of the saw down onto the material, which makes it more stable and easier to cut with. At least until you feel more comfortable using a downcut blade anyway. Binding usually happens when the material pinches the blade or it gets stuck in tight curves. If your material is not properly supported or fixed in place during a cut, it can move, twist, and even bend, causing the blade to bind up and causing kickback. Also, try and avoid starting in a very tight curve. Plunging straight into a tight curve can cause the blade to twist slightly, and that can cause blade grab or binding. A good tip is to make relief cuts when cutting curves, especially when using thicker blades. This will give the blade more room to move and less chance of binding up, as little pieces of the material will start to fall away as you do the actual cut. Now, this one takes a little bit of practice, but still very easy to do. When you are making curved cuts, one thing to remember is to try and not pivot or turn on the center of the saw. Now that does feel very natural, and it kind of looks something like this. Now you can notice the front and the back of the saw keeps moving in opposite directions like this. Instead, what you want to try and do is keep your eye on the front of the saw and try and keep this as steady as possible while letting the backside do all the work left and right. So it'll look something like that instead. Remember to keep the momentum going, because if you don't, it's going to bind up anyway and cause kickback. Now, it is worth mentioning at this point that some of these issues sometimes are related to the jigsaw itself. So it is worth checking every now and then to make sure that it's still in a good condition. Worn out blade guides and bearings can also lead to kickbacks, and something as simple as a loose or misaligned shoe or base plate is not uncommon. Just check to make sure that it's actually fixed in place, and you can use something like a little square lining it up with a blade, which also gives you the opportunity to make sure that your blade is not bent. With just these few tips and tricks, I can guarantee your cuts will improve dramatically. So don't forget to grab that free resource in the description, hit that like and subscribe button for me, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.